Hey guys, a lot of people don't understand what inflation means. A lot of us don't. Like we sit there and we relax and we think, oh yeah, inflation is there or inflation is a thing. It happens out there. It's more painful than anything. Okay, it's affecting us right now. I put a chat on LinkedIn the other day saying, hey, if you got a 3% pay rise this year, you got a 1% deduction on your salary. People couldn't believe it. It went big. And a lot of comments came back, about 300 comments, which is true. But people don't realize, right? So if you go in there, let's think about this gold, right? Everyone's talking about gold now. So gold was $35 in 1970. I wasn't here. I checked online. $35 in 1970. Okay. Right now, gold is 4,500. The same gold, the same piece of metal. Okay, per ounce. Okay, per ounce. The ounce of gold, tiny gold, was previously $35 to 70. Right now, when you see those numbers, 70 to now, that's about 30, that's 50 years. You're like 50 years, but that's inflation. But what people don't see is the year-to-year inflation as well, because for that jump to happen, every year it's been going up that way. That's painful. So that means if you were young in 1970 and you were working, which is your granddad was working in 1970, you're also working right now. That means you need to work at least 120 times what your granddad was working. And you worry why you're unhappy after work. You worry why Mondays you wake up and go, oh God, not again. That's why. It's a crazy amount to think about, right? It's scary to think about. Scary. And then I'll tell you what, right? Because if you look at it, so if you earn $10,000, imagine, or 10,000 pounds, let's go pounds. If you earn 10,000 pounds, before you get that money in, right, you pay taxes. If you're, 10,000 per month, you're already losing money, right? So you're on the higher end of tax. So that means you're being taxed at a higher amount. Okay, that means you end up with 6,000. Okay, 40% of that is gone. But the funny thing then is that at the end of the year, the amount of money you could buy with that 6,000 in January, by December is what less. So that 6,000, you had a tax, what's called inflation. And inflation right now, it's above 3%, 4%. So that means what you could buy in January, you can buy 4% less by December. That's per annum. That's crazy. Then you go into work. At work, if they don't give you a 4% pay rise, they give you 1%, 2%. That means you're down money. Every year this happens. If you're in December talking about this, going into January, maybe you watch this in January. That's crazy, guys. So you've just lost 2 to 3%. It's your Fed, the UK, all governments, okay, all developed governments are trying to hit inflation of 2%, 2.5%, which is crazy to think about. That they're actually saying that the goal is to get 2%. That means you get the worst. As a percentage you're getting, the amount of money you're losing every day in your pocket is at least 3 to 4%. That's crazy. It's really, really it's potentially, it's purchasing power. Right? It's a problem. And that's why things like Bitcoin are doing so well. Bitcoin is doing so well because of that, because again, the inflation is calculated on the dollar level, right? So people think they're making money for inflation on Bitcoin. Not really making money. Effectively just gambling on the small value of Bitcoin. When in truth, there's not. It's just like gold. People saying they're making money on gold. They're not making money on gold because gold remains what it is. There's no value in it apart from what people think it is. In truth, what it is, the dollar is going down. Because that means, I just talked about $35 is what you bought gold. Now you're buying it for 4,500. So the dollar is becoming worthless to your gold, which is the same. Same to Bitcoin. Your Bitcoin is still the same, but the value of what you get, the dollar keeps going up and you're happy with that. No, because at some point you still have to sell the Bitcoin to get that. There's a lot of people that hold Bitcoin. Bitcoin is money. Just as your dollar is money. You shouldn't be holding to Bitcoin. You're holding it because you think things are going to go worse. When they go worse, then you sell your Bitcoin for what? For the valueless dollar anyway. So it's a lose-lose situation for people who claim to hold money. And it's nothing against Bitcoin. I have nothing against you guys or nothing against fiat, right? The only people I have a problem with is inflation, the government. Okay. But hey, who am I? I'm the CEO of Oruka. I'm sure you're seeing this lovely blingy ring. So Oruka is a smart payment ring. You allow users tap to pay. So we do black, white, we do silver as well, and we do, custom rings. So this is a custom one. I have a white one as well, which I wear day to day. And it's a payment ring. It allows you tap to pay. So when you download our app, MoneySave, you can save as a group or you can order a ring. Yeah, so we're better than your bank. Your bank gives you a card. MP is what it costs to make that card. MP. If you have a metal card, $1 to make. We give you a ring. You decide what to do then. Again, it's for people who want that, right? So if you want security, if you don't want to use your Apple Pay on your phone, my battery's 10% already. So if you don't rely on your battery, you can just use your phone. You don't need a phone with this. You just tap to pay. And so the point I'm trying to make is that, inflation is a painkiller for all of us. We're struggling. Everyone is struggling. That the value of your money, what you're spending, is going down. Economists will say this, right? So a lot of, again, obviously I've worked in banking all my life. A lot of lecturers on economy would say, oh, you need inflation to grow the economy. That's one of the most silly comments ever. I've just told you that people are losing money. People are losing 2% of purchasing power. And you say you need inflation. And then you want to keep inflation below 2%. I'm saying 2% is bad, okay? But right now we're on 4%. So what are we going to do about that? What should you do about that? I doubt, But a normal person can't carry on doing that, right? It just doesn't make sense. Yeah. So if you look at that, I keep saying 2%, right? 2%, we're not there yet. So right now I can tell you the top economies are on 3.5% of inflation. So that would mean that in about 10 years, again, the average person, the average person possibly works 40 years in their lifetime, which is scary to think about. That's all you've got. You started school 20, by 60, you're retired. You started work at 20. So if you're lucky, right now, people are not even getting jobs at 20. But imagine if you're lucky enough to get jobs at 20, by 65, you're done. So that's 45 years. I'm telling you, inflation is eating at your money. So that means 3% per year. By 20 years, you've lost 50% of your salary. So that's 50%. So that means that if you're earning, 100,000, in 20 years, you better be earning 150,000 to get the same amount, the same thing, like you doing nothing. You better be getting salary increases for at least 2-3% every year. And then from there, what do you do then? You just got nothing. So that means they better give you more every year. And people are getting salary freezes for years, which is one of the worst things I've seen. Again, I've got my employees. I'll never do that, no matter what. I'd rather go hungry and feed them and give them that pay rise to combat inflation. But you need someone who knows that, right? Who talks about these things to know. Obviously, I give YouTube, so they'll quote me on these things, right? But my point is just the price that things are just rising incessantly. It just makes no sense that we need to think about. I don't know. The question is, what do we do, right? So my point is, number one is don't save in the dollar, in currencies. Don't do that. Because if you're saving in currencies, then you better earn more than that. So if you've got $1,000 in your bank account, okay, let me start with one. Try to save. Okay, let's start with that. Because a lot of people run and they say, oh, I want to get the best yield possible. You got the best yield possible, you're on loans, you're on debits, you're worrying about debt every day. Then you're not getting the best yield. Learn to save money. Okay. But for those who've got money to save, you've got 10,000 to save. Don't save it in cash, because clearly you see that your cash is being eroded with time. If you put 10,000 in the bank, by the end you have 4% less of that money. Come on. Depending on what country. If you're in the third world country, then Africa, South America, we're talking about 5-10%, sometimes 20% of that money is gone. So you don't want to put cash. Okay, what you want to do is, obviously you put your day-to-day cash. This is an expense cash. You can put your cash that you spend every day, coffee, food, tap to pay your transport, tap to pay. But money that you want to save, put that in the bank. Don't put that in a savings account. Don't put that in a current account or checking account, whatever you call it. Don't put it in a high yield account, an ETF, something that beats the inflation, minimum. Search beat inflation. If you beat inflation, you're done. But don't go too crazy on the high yield investment, blah, blah. Some people, they run around, they hunt yield. So they're trying to get from 0.275 to 0.278, 285, just 0.01. And they're so happy. And then someone will come ahead and calculate the computation of just what 0.01 does to you for what 20 years. Guys, that's the most complex thing ever. Stay simple. Buffett said this a lot. Everybody says this a lot. Stay simple. If anyone comes to you and gives you the most complex math possible and tells you you're going to make this money in 20 to 50 years, trust me, they're not doing it because they love you. They're doing that because they want you to move your money from where it is to them. 9 times out of 10, you never get that return or yield. Why? Because number one, the timing is gone. Number two, you get exit penalties from leaving one. So you go in here and then you've lost money of that time. And number three, what happens then? You go in and then you lose even more money because you don't get there, or sometimes market crash, or the expected returns that you were hoping for wasn't there. Just a joke. Stay simple. Don't be greedy. Can it beat inflation? Yes. Put it there. Done. And forget it. That's it. Okay. And again, more importantly, just know the value of your dollars. I don't know what Bitcoin is going to do in 2026. I don't know where things are going to go. But I do know that things have to change in terms of relying on fiat. Already governments know that. So governments are buying Bitcoin. Banks that we work with are allowing crypto. We allow crypto. We just finished a deal with Binance. I'm going to start that now. We're going to finish a deal with Binance, finish a deal with Coinbase. So that is going to go ahead as well. So everyone's allowing crypto these days. So try educate yourself on crypto. I'll keep it simple and just get our app. Okay. Catch you the next one. And to my customers, Happy New Year. Oda Roka. Thank you. Bye.